And there's the whistle. I think that's Bikini Killer at the pin for the 90s. Oh, tiptoeing through on turn one. Truffle shuffle. She's been doing it all night long.
Nicely done. Takes the lead jam position. Comes back to round to revisit the pack right off the jam line. Hey, I thought I just saw you guys. I'm back to get around you again and put up a grand slam. Thank you very much. 5 points for the 80s people. 80s people in the house.
Oh, and if she needed any more help, Truffle Shuffle is now on a power jam.
Right? I see you 80s people sitting out there wearing your Devo hats, going, we are not men, we are Devo, all that.
We'll find a little bit of a difficulty getting through the pack this time, but
sure, you know, after 2 times pass, they're like, oh, we should probably stop her from doing that, maybe, possibly.
Some great blocking there to keep her from taking full advantage of that power jam. They killed a lot of that penalty.
Yeah, but she did it again. There's another 5 for your 80s peeps out in the park on a Saturday night. Woot, 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 etc., etc., etc.
Oh, and a nice little spin move there to get around the pack again for another 5.
Another 5! Holy! We are on, she's on the way to the unicorn. You realize that, right?
And she's about to do it, I think. Oh, Bikini Killer not getting any luck getting through that pack. As
another 5! Just off the 95.
So what if you guys have your gear with you?
There's another one of those good whistles we love so much as this jam is on now. That's a band out there jamming for the 80s team. Picking up lead jam as she goes to her knees and is going to have to reset. And Beam Jam gets out of the pack. He's actually ahead of Shaban now, but of course Shaban is still lead jammer.
I can take off my gear. I know I can.
Yeah, Shaban back up and quick at it.
Calls 79 now for the 80s, 72 for the 90s as this jam gets underway. It's one of our Battleborn brawlers out there jamming for the 90s and for the 80s. As Uncle Wham's going to come out of the pack. Oh, look at this. Right on each other here. Bumping and shoving here from Uncle Wham.
Frankie's Tiki Room, proud sponsors of your fabulous Sin City Roller Girls.
All right, this jam is on. And that's Dave Growl out there jamming for the 90s. I think that's Crazy Train. It is jamming for the 80s.
Dave Brow. Fingernails are pretty. Fingernails are good. So are the 90s. Nice flannel.
All right, Crazy Train is out of the pack for lead jam. Here is Dave. Can't quite get around. Did some great blocking from the 80s here.
Coming back to revisit the pack on the inside of turn 2.
She is just so fast getting around that track. Every time she does that, I'm like, whoa, dude. And
it's almost as if it's like time travel, as if she had a TARDIS. And puts up a grand slam!
Like a TARDIS or a phone booth, I don't know.
Or a DeLorean. It's odd the devices that travel through time.
No, she's so fast she can barely say grand slam before she's hitting the pack to get another one.
Yeah, because there's another 5 80s people in the house. You should be going nuts right now.
Dave not having any luck getting out of the pack here as the pack finally reaches turn 4. And I think Crazy Train's been around the track for like her 4th time. And does pick up another 5.
Wow! Another grand slam!
I don't know what they said during halftime, but something has these 80s folks all fired up.
They said, McFly, 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 hey McFly.
I don't know, somebody woke them up before they went there, that's all I know.
Well, they just bumped McFly on behind her outside of turn 1 right there, but she's back up and at it, coming through turn 1, but that's...
Proud sponsors of your fabulous Sin City Roller Girls. All right, this jam starts with the 80s team at 98 to the 72 for the 90s team. That looks like Kurt Loader out there jamming for the 80s. Up against Ed Vader. No, take that back, Courtney Shove jamming for the 90s. Ed's actually out there pivoting. Alright, that is 4 points for the 90s there from Courtney Shove. Flammo. Ooh, and in case you didn't notice, Courtney is actually on the power jam right now.
Oh, did you say she's on a power jam?
Alright, Courtney finally gets through the pack again. This time picking up a full 5 points.
That's a grand slam!
Coming into turn 4 here.
Not getting any love, but finally making her way through.
Courtney is through the pack, but I don't know. Looks like Hurt is right on top of her. And, I wonder what's going to happen here. I think you can probably predict it if you know anything. All right, we got Party Poison out there jamming for the 80s team. One of our Battleborn Brawlers out here jamming for the 90s. Jammer for the 90s is in the penalty box. One of their blockers is also in the penalty box. As Party Poison still trying to work their way through the pack. So close, but has to reset here, Party Poison.
Hey, hi. Hi, guys. Hi, I was here a minute ago. So now I'm back, and now I'm going to go past all of you. We'll put up another how many points?
Alright, she is lead jam for the 80s there.
Right.
Coming around the score now, or trying to.
Oh, and well done, I believe. Yeah, that looks like a grand slam. Excuse me. I believe that is a grand slam.
That is a grand slam for Party Poison. Spice.
Girl.
Alright, we're now looking at a score of 103 for the 80s, 88 for the 90s. Still only 15 points. One power jam can change that. As Patrick Swayze takes lead jam for the 80s team.
It was a good night. Nobody died.
And Veruca Salt out there trying to work her way through the pack for the 90s. Not having much luck. Oh,
beautifully skated on the outside. Stays inbounds at turn 2. Pulls it off, gets past the pack. Lead jam puts up 5 for a grand slam for the 80s. It's the 80s. It's the 80s, right? She's in the 80s. She's living in the 80s.
Perfect awareness of where that line was for Patrick. 88 for the 90s.
Jam is underway.
Truffle Shuffle out there jamming for the 80s. And I believe that's Lola Pilusa out there jamming for the 90s. Lola working her way through that pack, trying to push that pack apart and get a no-back ball, but it looks like the pack's going to catch up to her.
A lot of contact, a lot of amazing defense. We're all the way to the other side of the track, and we're still one-on-one.
And Vader doing some incredible blocking up there against Truffle Shuffle. Oh, and we finally have a lead jammer, and it is Truffle Shuffle.
Truffle making it through after one lap around the track. Takes the lead jam position as she comes back to revisit the pack, who I'm sure are really glad to see her.
And Truffle Shuffle has not had any trouble getting out of the pack until that last jam. I think they may have figured her out. And not to the inside, Truffle Shuffle going to have to reset back to the back of the pack. And we do have a star pass, so we got a new jammer for 90's, and that's Bean Jam. Oh, the magical star pass.
Sin City Roller Girls.
All right, this jam is on. Current score 112 to 88. Looks like ammo out there jamming for the 80's team and picking up lead jam.
Getting all pointed at and stuff. Look at everybody pointing at her. Pointing at her. Pointing the lead jammer.
Pointing the Mia out there jamming for the 90's is also out of the pack.
Right?
And then you got to buy a new t-shirt because
you got to get another shirt.
chili on the other one.
Right, exactly. Because you're, okay, timeout's over. Yay, more roller derby. Who likes roller derby on a Saturday night in Las Vegas? Make some noise. Come on!
All right, neither jammer having much luck. Looks like Uncle Wham out there jamming for the 80's. And he picks up lead jam.
Look at the lead jammer. Look at the lead jammer skate around. So fancy in his skating. Coming back to revisit the pack and hello, hi, I'm going to skate through you now. Hello, okay. Oh, wait, no, yes, wait, no, yes, wait, yes, and yes! And it supports your fabulous Sin City Roller Girls, so get in touch with someone you know that's part of the league and find out more as we get this jam underway. And a couple of hits into turn one, and it looks like
that was an immediate star pass off the whistle, and Spice out there jamming for the 90's.
I'm glad you saw that, because I'm like, what is happening here?
And because of the star pass, he doesn't get the
Hickory, proud sponsors of your fabulous Sin City Roller Girls.
All right, this jam is on. We got a score now, 121 to 92. It's Despicable Me picking up lead jam for the 90's.
The 90's! Flannel people in the park, hello!
Then around the blocker, also out of the pack for the 80's is Mia tiptoes around the pack a little bit, but did some more great blocking.
The Ogden, it's at the Ogden and 6th. Proud sponsors of your fabulous Sin City Roller Girls. Another jam underway.
Big block there right off the bat. That's Rick Rolled out there jamming. I believe it's for the first time tonight for the 80's team. That's Bikini Killer out there jamming for the 90's. She's going to have to reset as the 80's pick up another 5 points there.
5 points, that would be, what do you...
I think it's called a Grand Slam.
Oh, a Grand Slam!
And I think that's going to be another one right there.
Oh, and another?
Yep, Rick Roll not wasting any time.
And another Grand Slam!
And that lead a little bit here.
Oh, wait.
Doesn't hurt that there's 2 of the 90's players in the
Another one of those?
And another Grand Slam for the 80's.
Another Grand Slam. Okay, how about... Okay, so she's going to call the jam.
Just a second. And then you can all know what I know. You can feel important. All right, jam is underway. Shabam jamming for the 80's team. And doing what Shabam does best, picking up lead jam pretty quickly.
Oh, look, they're pointing at her already. Hey, I think everybody should point at her. Everybody point at the lead jammer.
All right, I believe that's Bean Jam out there jamming for the 90's team. What that official time out there was all about was it was actually an official review called for by the 80's team about the star pass that the 90's team had pulled off. They wanted that revoked, but there wasn't enough evidence for the officials to take that star pass away from them. All right, Shabam.
Know anything about the Yankee Candle Catalog fundraiser? But anything that raises funds for your Sin City Roller Girls is a good thing.
That is correct.
Yep. All right, jam is underway.
Jam is underway. 144 for the 80's at this point. 98 still for the 90's. 80's have done a great job blocking the second half to keep the 90's team from picking up hardly any points in this half. We got Dave Grau out there jamming for the 90s, picking up lead jam for the 80s.
Proud sponsors of your fabulous Cincinnati Roller Girl.
Right now, whistle starts another jam here. I gave up a long time ago trying to figure out what jam number it was.
Jam number 11 billion. And it looks like in the lead jam position.
That's Angel of Darkness. Hey, that's her first jam tonight.
Angel of Darkness revisits the pack at turn 2. Fights her way through on the inside and calls the jam. Cincinnati Roller Girl.
Ooh, how about a jam? Who wants a jam? Anybody want a jam?
Me, I want another
me. Jam.
All right, here we go again. Oh, nice moves out here.
Yes.
As Veruca Assault does some nice footwork to get through that pack and pick up lead jam for the 90s.
That was awesome. So sweet. Beautifully skated. Coming back to revisit her friends outside of turn 1 and into turn 2. Fighting hard to stay inbounds and making her way through. On the inside of turn 2, gets out and puts up 5. Hey, 90s people, look at that. 90s, yo! If I may use the word yo.
Brooke out there picking up her 5, and it looks like Commander Shredder is out of the pack now. She's going to be looking to pick up some points for the 80s. But Veruca said,
if you'd like to be part of the Battleborn Brawlers, guys, if you haven't messed up your knees or ankles yet, lvmensrollerderby@gmail.com and be part of the Battleborn Brawlers.
all right, this jam is on with Patrick Swayze out there jamming for the 80s, picking up lead jam coming out of the pack and just tiptoeing all around to get that done. I believe that's Dave Grau out there jamming for the 90s again as Patrick Swayze comes through and picks up a grand slam for the 80s.
Oh my god, the 80s are so awesome. They're like totally making it through their way on turn 2. On the outside, maybe right here. Oh my god.
And Patrick does pick up some more points for the 80s there in the form of another grand slam for 5 more points for them.
Gag me with a spoon. But there, I believe, is another grand slam.
That's another one. Waiting for the points to show up, but yeah.
Oh, look, there they are. Oh, look at that.
So it's not a grand slam, but it is another 4.
4, okay. So like another 10.
Dave worked her way out of the pack. She was trying to hand the star, but didn't have anybody to hand it to, so she just kept it and got out of the pack.
The semi-official consensus is we're about 5 minutes away from the end of this bout. So let's see how this goes as the next jam gets underway.
Uncle William goes down, but does pick up grand slam as he does. Not a grand slam, lead jam is what I meant to say.
Right, but wow, I've never seen a human body twist that way before. That was amazing.
You've never seen Rolamites, Dave. Bean Jam out of the pack as well. Uncle Wham hit the pack, but Bean Jam also hitting it almost around, but she gets knocked out of bounds, has to reset. And it looks like Uncle Wham is going to the penalty box. So this jam continues. It's now a power jam. Bean Jam picking up 5 for the 90s. You can cut this deficit here a little bit for her team. Does get through the pack. But she...
Excuse me, there's only about 2 minutes left of Derby. Make some noise, people! All
right, who's out here rooting for the 80s? You should be happy. Who's out here rooting for the 90s?
Grungy 90s people in the house, come on!
All right, Uncle Wham comes back from the penalty box, hits the pack, and it hits back as he goes down on his back.
Bring it right.
So, this could be a little bit interesting to see how this next jam goes. All right, so Dean is out of the penalty box, hitting the pack now. Dean trying to push through, and does for lead G. Uncle Wham is sitting in the penalty box now again, so it's still a power jam. Dean trying to push through.
Yeah, revisiting the pack right here in turn 2 on the inside, tiptoeing to stay inbounds. And it looks like, yeah, finding her way through just before turn 3. Gets it done. Yep, puts up 5, everybody.
Just coming around through the pack on that inside line, knowing exactly where it was to pick up that grand slam.
Nice job for the flannel kids. She comes back around, cuts through like a hot knife through butter. Another 5 right there for the 90s kids.
She's going to try to do it again.
Yeah, our Pearl Jam.
But Uncle Wham is out of the penalty box and back into the pack, trying to work his way through on his initial pass. And does get through. Big Jam trying to score some more points for the 90s. He's had a great jam so far, picking up another 4 for them and calling it off.